they'll put all of this time, all of these gifts, all of these things forward in a very extreme way because they want the person to like them. They want the person to be with them. They want to be, seen as somebody that they're really into, etc. So it's a natural thing to actually do that in many cases. I really want to impress the person. I really want them to, show up for me and like me and all these things. So yeah, people do that. People do that. Again, that's a regular thing we see in just regular dating, right? The issue is people are saying, and what I think the difference is what people are saying, well, the person never intended to really actually be with this person because they've got this narcissistic personality disorder. And we don't know that to be true or not. Okay. So let me keep going with this. So yeah, so they're laying it on really thick. They're doing all these things, all this communication, all these gifts, all this time, passion, really trying to impress the person. Well, we know that that's not realistic. Okay. Like, if you're going to be like that, and you're not authentically that way, you're not going to be able to sustain it. Right. So what happens is inevitably is the person's not going to be able to sustain it. Now, this is both cases, whether they're quote unquote narcissistic or they're just a regular person who's really trying to impress the person. You're not going to be able to sustain that level of passion and intensity and connectiveness and all that kind of stuff that you led with to get this person to like you. So then what happens when you can't sustain it? When you can't sustain it, what happens? The person says, oh, you're not being consistent. They accuse you of being inauthentic. And so as a defense mechanism with some people, again, because most of the people who do this are not actually clinically narcissistic. That's an overused word. But what most people do is they also get defensive. They say, well, you're asking for too much, or you're begging, or you're needy, you're doing all these things. So they're basically implying you didn't appreciate the efforts I put forth. You're trying to make that something I've got to do for the rest of my life, or I'm a bad person, or I'm inauthentic. When really I was courting you. I was doing all the things that I've been told that men need to do and women need to do in order to actually get the person to like me and to have feelings for me and to say yes to dates and stuff like that. But now that I'm not able to sustain that anymore, you want to call me a bad person. So now I have to say to you, well, you're actually the bad person. Your expectations for relationships are way over the top. And so that's where the quote unquote devaluing comes in. Right? The devaluing comes in because the person who was doing these things in the beginning is now feeling offended or they're getting defensive, that type of thing. And